Well, now that everyone can be in the correct channel, I'd like to welcome everybody to our event, Every Californian Empowered Free Tax Prep for All. My name is Mandy Nond. I'm the Associate Director of Economic Mobility with United Ways of California. I'm excited to help connect you all with free resources in your community. We believe that everyone should be able to file their taxes for free so they can maximize their refund. But free tax prep is more than just a free service. For many, it is an opportunity at financial freedom. People can file their taxes for free through our website, myfreetaxes.org. First up, I'd like to introduce our president and CEO, Pete Monzo.
Thanks, Mandy. And hello, everybody. We're really excited to talk with you all today about VITA Free Tax Preparation Services. As Mandy mentions, I'm the president for United Ways of California, and we're the state network of California United Ways. One of the key purposes for VITA that we find is connecting families to the Cal EITC and the Young Child Tax Credit, two of our most powerful tools to reduce poverty and build equity. 1 in 3 California households struggle to afford a decent standard of living. And these are overwhelmingly working families, according to our Real Cost Measure report. We know that these working families contend with the high costs of housing, childcare, and healthcare, and are often faced with painful trade-offs, whether to buy food or put gas in the car, to pay rent or keep the lights and heating on. So connecting folks to the California Earned Income Tax Credit and Young Child Tax Credit can really help. Last year, the Cal EITC and YCTC, Young Child Tax Credit, invested more than $1.3 billion in supporting nearly 3.5 million California households. That's something we all should really celebrate. Investments like the Young Child Tax Credit and the California Earned Income Tax Credit hit the sweet spot. They're the most targeted and effective way to reduce poverty and to improve lifelong results for children and families, and in the bargain to boost local economies. And their impact is proven. It's documented in dozens of studies. So there's no guesswork to this. We know about the impact of connecting households to these credits. Here in California, our United Ways and partners across the state help to connect families to these credits through VITA. And we know how meaningful these tax credits can be. Families can catch up on back rent, repair the family car, do a number of things, and the dollar value can be quite high. So stick with us today and learn how to access the Cal EITC and the Young Child Tax Credit. It could mean thousands of dollars to help your family with important necessities. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Pete. Next up, we have Chris Woods from the Office of Senate Pro Tem Adkins and Community Ambassador Yvonne Vega. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Chris is representing Senator Atkins' office. Senator Atkins represents the 39th Senate District in San Diego County. Senator Atkins was also one of the earliest champions of the California Earned Income Tax Credit and helped establish the credit in 2015. Chris, what inspired Senator Atkins to champion the state tax credit, and why was it so important to them?
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me today. It's a great topic to talk about, so looking forward to this. And Senator Atkins, then Speaker Atkins in the Assembly, it was just a thing that naturally fits what she likes to do. She wants to help people that need the help the most. She's got a low-income background growing up, and so she really understands the struggles that families have. It also works perfectly with the kind of the approach we were taking at the time in dealing with the budget challenges. We're still kind of coming out of the Great Recession of things. There was not a lot of available resources to target to new programs or to provide new assistance. And so this was a way to get money to families that need it the most. And she did it in a really innovative way. And that's kind of what kind of the real genius behind the whole thing is. She cracked the code here. For decades, legislators have been trying to get a Cal EITC in California, and it didn't really work because it was the ideas always were just trying to follow what other states had done. It's sort of the piggyback approach on that, and where you just did what the federal government did, plus maybe a 5% or 10% at the state level. That cost us a bunch of money in the budget and provided just a little benefit there. So she said, let's help the people that need the help the most and target it to the lowest income folks. and make it a meaningful amount. So it's nearly all of the same. It's almost a full match of what the federal government gets at the state level but it's a more targeted population, those who need it the most. It's really important too, at the same time, that the state was working on increasing the minimum wage. And the speaker's approach at the time was, and it's the right approach, is that businesses need to come through and they need to pay their employees with a decent earning. And so what we don't want to do is have the EITC basically be a supplement to employers. We want it to actually be help to people that need it the most. So that's why it's targeted towards folks who earn up to what a full-time minimum wage earner would get. And so it really does kind of benefit people that for whatever reason aren't able to work full-time throughout the year. Maybe a mother is out having a baby thing, so you're not able to put in the full 42 weeks of work a year. Those are the folks who get the earned income tax credit, and it's a big thing. And that's a long answer, but that's what inspired Speaker Atkins at the time to get this thing going. I got more than championing, basically the inventor of it. And without her, there is no Cal EITC in California today.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're so grateful for that. And I think there's so much history behind it. And Chris, you did such a great job of laying the foundation and really understanding of like the importance of it. I think the other piece of it is it's really evolved since 2015. So it was established in 2015. Since then, the credit has expanded to include a larger range of people. So this includes people ages 18 to 24, ages over 65, and then in 2020, also including people with ITIN numbers. What type of impact do you think that those changes have had on California's community members and the local economy?
Yeah, it helps, and the more we expand it, the better. And those have all been great expansions, and we're very fortunate. Nearly every year we've added to it. It's going to be a challenging year last year. It's going to be a challenging year this year, but we definitely have a to-do list on how to expand the Cali ITC. And so it has expanded to more populations that meet the economic requirements of it is a very important part. And the next step is to make sure everybody that recovers it gets a real meaningful minimum EITC credit as well.
Yeah, we're excited to see those changes for years to come. You alluded a little bit to, it's a challenging year. I think many of us can relate to that. So I want to pass it over to one of our community ambassadors, Yvonne. Yvonne, you're a mom of 4. You've got 4 young girls. Can you share what it's like raising a family in California right now? Oh, and Yvonne, I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. So it's very hard because everything is so expensive. Everything has gone up rent-wise, grocery-wise, bill-wise, and our wages simply do not match up with the cost of living.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, knowing that the cost of living has gotten so high, can you share with everyone why the free filing experience has been so meaningful to you?
With all the expenses I have, it's a relief that free tax filing is one thing that I don't have to worry about paying for. Not having to pay $150 to $300 makes a huge difference. And knowing that my taxes will be done right gives me peace of mind. I feel more comfortable going through the VITA program to get my taxes done because their tax preparers are trained by the IRS. They help make sure I get the most of my refund and that I keep it all in my pocket. That's why I keep going back to the VITA programs. This will be my 7th year that I've gone to them.
That's so amazing. Yeah. And I think, $150, $300, going to a paid preparer, I want everyone to maximize their refund. I want them to keep 100% of their refund because when I think about that $300, I know that that's groceries, it's a car payment, that's money that can go towards rent, bills, all sorts of things, right? And I think most of us, we are counting every dollar right now. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we're going to share a little bit later more of our free filing options, but I think really what we want people to walk away with is knowing that free filing is available to everybody, regardless of income. So anybody can file their taxes for free. That means that everybody has the opportunity to maximize their refund. So I'm curious, Yvonne, you've been able to access these services for years.
Mhm.
Obviously you really trust the service and it's something that you keep going back to. What would you tell someone who's hesitant to file their taxes through like a free filing service, whether it's our virtual option, in person, or the self-filing option? What would you tell them?
I would tell them they only have something to gain from free filing. It's a free resource, so you don't have to worry about getting charged at any point. Why not keep that $150 to $300 that you would otherwise spend on getting your taxes done in your pocket? So if you are hesitant, just reach out and ask more information. United Way is here to help you file.
Yeah, love that. Thank you so much, Yvonne. So before we jump to the next section, Yvonne and Chris, I have one more question for you is,
Okay.
how do you think that we can continue empowering community members financially in California? What would you guys like to see?
I think it's very important to help our communities learn about the tax filing process and about tax credits. In the Hispanic community, there is a lack of information. I am here because I want to make sure that my community knows about resources available through trusted programs like myfreetaxes.org and that they learn through the process so that they feel more empowered.
That's great. Chris, how about for you? What would you like to see?
Yeah, I would just add, yes, the Cali ITC is a great program. It is very important, but there's a lot more we do. And we've expanded our job programs through our CalWorks system to really help people re-enter the workforce and thrive in the workforce, not just at entry-level jobs for the rest of their lives, but to really learn how to take the next step and be able to take the next step in a career and things. And so I think that's the most important thing is people to feel like they can earn more and fully participate as a member of our society and a member of the middle class. And that's the ultimate goal here. And so our tax programs, our other government programs, and make sure we continue increasing the minimum wage as well, are all things that I think will really help people thrive. And because like you mentioned at the very beginning, generally these are all working families. And if you work, you ought to be paid appropriately. You ought to have the resources to live a comfortable life and raise a family.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better, Chris. Well, thank you so much, Chris, and thank you, Yvonne. Last year alone, our partners across the state helped people save $29.9 million by helping them file their taxes for free. We believe in free tax prep because we know it is much more than offering a free service. We're focused on not just educating people about the tax filing process and ensuring that they get every tax credit that belongs to them, but ensuring that community members feel empowered to take control of their finances. Next up, we have Jason Sisney, the Budget Director for the California State Assembly and Speaker Robert Rivas' office, and Community Ambassador Alexis Obina. Thank you guys for joining us. So Jason, we'll start with you. As the Budget Director for the California State Assembly, your role is to advise the Speaker of the California State Assembly and Assembly Democrats on state budget matters. Right now, we're really lucky to say that the state helps support free tax prep through the California budget. This has helped ensure that services are found across the state and partners have the capacity to make programming accessible to more people. Jason, in your role as budget director, why do you think it's crucial to support free tax prep initiatives, and how might this type of service be a win not just for community members, but for everyone?
Well, it's good to be here, and I think that as Chris was mentioning, when Senator Atkins was Speaker, she really advanced this program, and the Assembly, working with the Senate and the Brown and Newsom administrations, really has tried to ramp up the EITC program. And one of the ways we want that program to be effective is to make sure it reaches the people who are eligible to use it, and that takes. We have learned it takes a lot of effort. And so VITA and other programs of outreach have been very important to building the awareness of this program so that 3.5 million California households can take advantage of it. We have so many state programs that people aren't aware of. And while we have more work to do, I think we've done a pretty good job of getting a lot of Californians aware of this program, and hopefully we can do more in the future.
Yeah, I think what's pretty cool about Jason, not only supporting from like behind the scenes, but Jason's also a VITA volunteer, which is pretty cool. So that means that Jason was certified and trained by the IRS and was actually helping people file their taxes for free. So Jason, I'd love to hear more about your experience being a VITA volunteer, and how do you think that like free tax prep options play a vital role in empowering our community?
I have been. I've had to take a couple of years off because as we've been discussing, we've been dealing with some deficits at the state level, so it kind of interferes with my spring schedule, but I hope to get back to it very soon. But I found it to be one of the most fulfilling volunteer experiences I've ever had. I mean, when a family comes in to a VITA site, you have a very close connection with them for 20 minutes, a half hour, 40 minutes. And you learn a lot about them, and you basically try to help explain to them, all right, I'm going to ask you a question about your income, your job, your education, what you're spending at school. Here's why I'm going to ask it, and to help them understand this is why we're going through this process. This is why we're asking you these questions. And at the end of it, you'll hopefully be able to get a refund that will help you and your family succeed. So it's a really interesting volunteer experience, and I definitely encourage everyone who has the time to look into getting trained and helping people get their refunds.
Yeah, absolutely. Very fulfilling experience. I think there's very few volunteer opportunities out there where you can actually help put thousands of dollars into people's pockets and help them, get started on the road to financial stability. So definitely really rewarding.
Yeah.
Alexis, I'm actually going to hop over to you next. She's another one of our community ambassadors, and so you've also worked as a VITA volunteer, and you've also had the opportunity to file your taxes for free. What motivated you to become a VITA volunteer, and how has your experience as a VITA volunteer empowered you, particularly around your financial health and literacy?
Thank you. So I'm so happy to be in community. I come from social work and also a foster care background. And so I just didn't have a general tax knowledge that I needed to thrive when I started preparing my taxes. And so as I grew older, I learned the valuable tax knowledge and the linkage that it had between financial literacy. And it just wasn't taught to me. So when I first had to file taxes, I wasn't prepared and I didn't understand what I had to do. I initially tried filing through one of the big chain services, but once I got through the end, I found out that I did, in fact, have to pay. And so at the time, it was too much money for me to afford. And so I decided to file somewhere else through a friend. And after that, I was like, there has to be a better way. There has to be more tax breaks that I can take. And so I was more dedicated to find a way to inform myself and also just inform my community and support other people going through the same thing that I was going through. And that's when I found out about local sites around me and decided to help myself and others save my money and file on their own.
Yeah, that's so great. One of the things I was hearing you saying is, I didn't have these skills and I wasn't taught how to do this. I think so many of us can relate to that, right? This is something that like we're all legally required to do, but we don't learn it in school. We don't learn it anywhere, but we have to pick it up somewhere. So I think what's really wonderful, if you guys go to myfreetaxes.org, we try to make the filing process as easy as possible. So, we're obviously talking to Alexis and Jason right now about their VITA volunteer experience, but we also have some self-filing that's available, and we have guides, videos, everything to make that easy. So just because you might not know now doesn't mean that you have to be stuck going to a paid prepare. We have everything that you guys need to make that process easy and seamless. So, um, I want to talk a little bit more, Alexis, about being a VITA volunteer, and also filing on your own. You were saying, "Hey, I didn't know how to do this before. I was going to somebody else." Not only are you doing it on your own now, but you're also helping other people do that, which is a pretty cool full circle moment. And what would you tell someone who's maybe interested, but maybe they're hesitant for some reason? So maybe they're interested in taking the leap and either filing on their own or becoming a VITA volunteer, but maybe they're hesitant to do so. What would you say to them?
Yeah, I would say just to reach out and ask questions. The first step is always educating yourself and helping yourself first before you can support others. I know sometimes people come to me and say like, I want to be a preparer, and then they see like the preparer's test and they're like, oh my gosh. And it's like, sometimes, maybe you need to step back and look at some of the My Tax videos and learn a little bit more before you dive into the heavier stuff. And then just visit a Vita site sometimes. Go to a Vita site or use the free filing resources offered through the partnerships like with United Ways, and just know that these are completely free. So why not utilize them? And as a VITA volunteer, just knowing that I don't just do people's taxes, I make sure that we learn through the process. So I usually input their information, and then I have a session with them where I go through and then I actually like educate them like, this is the reason why you're getting this amount back, and these are the credits we're getting back, and these are the credits that like, these are the names of the credits, and these are like the reasons that they're here. And so I want to make sure that people are very educated on the whole tax outcome, and that they have their 1040 and they understand why they need it for school or work or whatever. And so that's what keeps them coming back. And that's what keeps them excited to do their taxes each year. It's not just about the money, it's also about the education. And so I just want them to feel more empowered, and I want them to know that we care about helping them learn through the process, and also, again, just saving that money.
Yeah. Yeah. Such a great example, Alexis. I think, again, I keep saying it over and over again. This is more than just a free service. It's really an opportunity to feel empowered in like the financial process. So, before we wrap up, Jason and Alexis, I'm going to ask you the same thing that I asked Chris and Yvonne is, how do you think that we can continue empowering community members financially in California? What are the things that you guys would like to see?
I'll let you start,
Well,
Jason.
yeah, well, I think that just last year, with the support of a lot of California leaders and California groups, the federal government made a significant new investment in free filing options that's beginning this year, and will hopefully spread and grow over the next several years. So I think that, encouraging the federal government to take even more action to make free tax filing more accessible, I think we have a lot of room to grow on that, and we've already begun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. And I think Jason just said it as well. I think we can do this by sharing information and sharing knowledge with others. For me, I got into taxes with the guidance of Anna Johnson, who used to work with the VITA program with the John Burton Advocates for Youth. And so, yeah, they just made me feel like I could do this. They made me feel empowered about doing my taxes. And now everyone I know messages me asking me about taxes and tax credits, like the foster youth tax credit. And so this works. It's not just about doing your taxes, but tax advocacy and paying it forward and supporting others. And it really is helpful. It doesn't matter if it's 500, 200, or even $50. It really impacts people's lives. And it's about helping our communities be more comfortable asking for help. And a lot of people do feel that shame or scared to ask for help. But if there's anything I could like support anyone leaving this room with, is just make sure that you're claiming your tax credits, and these are things that belong to you. It's not a handout. These are things that are owed to you by the federal government. And I don't know if I can say this, but they don't have a problem taking your money, so you shouldn't have a problem claiming your money as well. So that's what I'd like to add.
Absolutely. Yes, this money belongs to you, right? It's not like a loan, it's not a grant, anything like that. You're getting this money because you worked hard and it belongs to you. So I think the reoccurring theme I think I keep hearing over and over again is just give it a try, reach out, like just make that first step, right? So you make that first step and you guys will be amazed. There's going to be a lot of people there to support you along the way. So thank you so much, Jason and Alexis. So
Thank
we've
you.
talked, yeah, thank you. So we've talked about free tax prep through VITA, but United Ways of California actually provides 3 different types of free filing services through our website, myfreetaxes.org. Through our website, people can file for free in person with a VITA volunteer, virtually with a VITA volunteer, or through self-filing. There's really something for everyone, regardless of their income. So what's really exciting, anybody can file for free. I know I keep saying this over and over again, but I think this is the most important message I want you guys to walk away with, is that it doesn't matter if you think that your income threshold is too high, there is going to be an option that's available to you. Our free filing work is done in support of the IRS, Franchise Tax Board, and our other local United Way partners. Here to share more is Andrew LePage from Franchise Tax Board and Susan England from United Way, Ventura County. Welcome, you guys.
Hello.
Hi, Andrew. So most people know Franchise Tax Board as the agency that we file our state taxes with, but in reality, the Franchise Tax Board is an important partner when it comes to connecting communities to critical tax credits, such as the California Earned Income Tax Credit. What are some key messages that you're sharing with the public and outreach partners about the Cali ITC?
Well, to what Alexis was saying, it's your money, get it.
Yeah.
And it pays to file your taxes. And the poster in front of me says, get your money, file your taxes. So beyond that, I really like to emphasize that this is about potentially cash back. So these are special credits, unlike others that just lower any tax you might owe. These can result in money in your pocket right away. So I realized a couple of years ago, a lot of people may not even know what we mean by tax credits. So again, I like to emphasize at least the potential for cash back. If you owe something, maybe it is just going to lower your tax, or you'll get a little less back from Cali ITC, the Young Child Tax Credit, or Foster Youth Tax Credit. But in many cases, you're getting something close to $300 back, and families now can get up to $3,529 back this year if they have 3 or more children. The Young Child Tax Credit and the Foster Youth Tax Credit max awards were both adjusted for inflation. So this year they tap out at $1,117. So especially on top of any federal credit you might get, as others have pointed out, this can add up to hundreds or thousands pretty quickly. The state issued nearly 3.5 million Cali ITC credits worth more than 1.3 billion. That's if you include roughly 412,000 young child tax credits and almost 5,000 foster youth tax credits in their first year. And then last year, Cali ITC was awarded to more than 230,000 filers who didn't have a Social Security number, had an individual taxpayer identification number, or ITIN. And that included about 36,000 ITIN filers who got the young child tax credit. And I'll just note that the qualification process for the ITIN filers is exactly the same.
Yeah, that's amazing. And when I hear those dollar amounts, I'm thinking about, everything that people are doing with that money, right? Money that's helping them, it's going back into their pocket. It's also going back into our communities and our local economy. So I think that's really wonderful. So I think, one of the big things that we do, it's not just free tax prep, it's educating people about tax credits like the California Earned Income Tax Credit, which Andrew's been talking to us about. And so a lot of this is supported through our free tax prep program and things like VITA. So the VITA is a federal program that's administered through the IRS. What's the Franchise Tax Board's role in promoting VITA, and why is VITA important in helping connect Californians to the Cali ITC?
Yeah, so we try to promote VITA in virtually everything we do in the way of Cali ITC outreach, our flyers, posters, social media, news releases, media interviews. And then we've got a dedicated VITA webpage, which includes and by the way, that's ftb.ca.gov/VITA. And we've got a VITA locator tool similar to the one the IRS has, so you can find a convenient place to get your taxes done for free near you. And then we also have a small VITA team at FTB that specializes in training statewide of VITA site coordinators, volunteers. And we realize the cost of professional tax preparation is very significant and often can exceed what someone would hope to get back in the way of Cali ITC or potentially other credit. So providing free tax prep is really key. It's the gateway often to getting these tax credits we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you would like to highlight for tax filers as they get ready for the 2024 tax season?
Oh, sure. I work for a tax agency. So I would encourage everyone to sign up for a MyFTB account. And you can just go to ftb.ca.gov and it's right there on the homepage, or just search for MyFTB. So what this does is it gives you an account similar to managing all your finances online through your bank site or whatever. So this is going to simplify your tax life. You can use a secure chat function once you're on MyFTB to ask questions that are specific to your circumstances. You can't do that on our general chat. You've got all your past returns there that you can reference. Notices, if we sent you any notices, you can check there. So I highly recommend you take a look at that, just especially if you're younger and you're moving around and you have a hard time finding last year's return. And then we do have the general online chat. If you have a more of a basic question, that will save you some time as we get closer to tax day, which is April 15th, by the way, at the moment. If you do call in, we now have a feature where you don't have to stay on hold. You can get a call back. And there's a lot of great information about Cali ITC and related credits on our website, ftb.ca.gov/CaliITC. It all starts right there. It includes a calculator where you can get estimates on your state and federal earned income tax credit, as well as the young child and foster youth tax credits. A lot of other online tools. Just search what you're looking for, like where's my refund? That's one of the top questions we get at FTB in customer service. So just search for where's my refund. There's a tool where you put in a few pieces of information and it'll get the status of your refund. And what else?
I think
Be
that's
sure to sign up for direct deposit, right?
Oh, yeah.
For the fastest refund possible, and double check that your address and banking information is correct, so we don't have any delays. Sorry.
Yeah. Those are great ones, especially that direct deposit. Means that it's going to speed up that return. It means you're going to get it much more quickly. So, Andrew, we really appreciate your support. I think that, free tax prep cannot be done, I think, alone in a silo, right? Everyone from our legislators who are making policy decisions to the Franchise Tax Board and then the IRS, and then, of course, our local partners. So, all of us really work closely together to really help make sure that free tax prep is accessible across the state of California. So there's next up, we have Susan, who is one of our partners from United Way Ventura. So she's actually one of our wonderful partners who is helping make this work happen on the ground. And so she's been doing VITA for 16 years. And as Andrew mentioned, local partners play an important role in helping community members access free tax prep. So I'd love to hear, Susan, why is this so important to United Way Ventura?
Well, a focus of United Way's locally here in Ventura, as well as across the nation, is to improve the financial outcomes for families. And so one way we can do this is by using the free tax preparation services and helping families, households access tax credits. We've heard about all the tax credits and the benefits and the amount of money that can be returned to families. So it just really makes a lot of sense. And as we heard Yvonne mention earlier, instead of paying hundreds of dollars to a paid tax preparer, save that money. Use it for essentials such as food or rent, or even to start a savings account for the future.
Yeah, great advice, especially that savings. If you're able to do that, I think that's a big one. So I think what I love the most, I mean, I love so many things about United Way Ventura, obviously, but one of the cool things about you guys is you guys offer VITA and free tax prep in so many different ways. So you guys do in-person VITA, you guys do virtual VITA, you guys even have a VITA bus that like goes out and you guys do the taxes on the bus, and you guys have self-filing. So you guys are doing it all. And so I really want to hear, why is it important for you to offer these services in so many different formats?
Certainly. The more different ways you can offer tax preparation the more households you can reach, the more flexibility you have in meeting the needs of your constituents. So the virtual option allows people to stay at home and prepare their tax return with a paid preparer. Maybe they don't have transportation, or they're not on a bus route that takes them to a VITA site. Perhaps there's no VITA site in their community. Maybe their schedule just doesn't work for them. There's no way that their schedule matches a VITA schedule. So it's convenience and flexibility. And it's also one way that you can file past year returns. Some people forget about filing their returns and need to file previous years. So this is a way they can do that also. Our in-person VITA sites are the most popular. They've been around the longest, probably. It's for those who aren't as comfortable with taxes and they want to sit down with someone who is a certified, trained volunteer and go through the process with them. Another way also you can file past returns. And if you're needing to file to apply for or to renew an I-10, this is the best way to do your tax return in order to accomplish that. And then we started self-filing. This is, I think, our first year we're really working on self-filing. And this really is for those who want to learn. There are lots of self-filing guides and videos on My Free Taxes, the website. So it really helps you through it. The questions are asked and you answer the question. It's not like you're starting from scratch. So it just leads you right through the process. And there, as already has been mentioned, there's no income limit for using the self-filing My Free Taxes. So it makes a lot of sense. We're trying 2 new things this year in Ventura County. We're partnering with the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, and they're working with recently released those who've been incarcerated, and we're working with them at the Cal Fire site here in Camarillo. So we did a session on education, help them understand their taxes and their obligations and the various ways to file and their statuses. And then we're going to assist them through the self-filing mode at their facility. So we're really excited about that partnership. And then we're also planning another basic needs, another center, a self-filing center with the Basic Needs Center at the Cal State University here in Camarillo. And this particular center serves low-income former and current foster youth and homeless students. So we again feel it's a good way to use a facility on campus and work with students so they can build their capacity and learn about taxes. The e-bus is really exciting. It's a self-contained bus, a VITA site on wheels, full-size bus, comes with Wi-Fi access, computers, printers, and we've taken the e-bus to the community of Fillmore here in Ventura County. It's a more rural community, but the e-bus is really an excellent strategy for communities that do not have a VITA site, are more rural, and this will be our 2nd year using the VITA bus.
Yeah, so excited for all of this, Susan. And I think especially for the self-filing events that you guys are running, we have a handful of other partners that are doing similar models. So assisted self-filing. So maybe the first time you're like, okay, I want to try filing my taxes for free, but maybe you want someone to help you along the way. So we have other partners all across the state that are doing workshops and classes and drop-ins to libraries and things like that to help you along the way. Makes me think about what Alexis was saying earlier around, it's teaching these life skills, but it's also really empowering people in this process for tax filing, which I think is so, so important. So before we wrap up this section, Susan, I would love to hear from you. How do you think that we can continue empowering community members financially in California?
Well, certainly to continue providing all these options for free tax preparation, that's important. And also to continue outreach efforts. We're working locally with to reach our indigenous population. So we're working with some partners who are trusted partners of our Mixteco and Zapoteco residents, and we'll be providing translation and outreach to those populations. So we have to think about those who are not as comfortable filing taxes as some others are. And I think we also have to educate. We've heard many people mention we need to educate people about taxes and about credits and help them understand. There are people who ITIN holders need to realize they may be eligible for some credits. Foster youth tax credit is due. This is the second year, I believe. That's an excellent opportunity. And then there are those who don't have a filing requirement that can still receive credits. I think we need to keep messaging that you can receive credits even though you don't have a filing requirement. Even if you just get that little bit of taxes you've been putting into the system, walk away with $50. That's $50 you didn't have yesterday. So why not file your return?
Yeah, I agree, Susan. Totally agree. So, just a reminder to everybody, you guys can access free tax prep through our website, myfreetaxes.org. Again, we have 3 filing options available. You could file in person with a VITA volunteer, virtually with a VITA volunteer, or through our self-filing software. Our website, myfreetaxes.org, also has guides, we have videos, we have tutorials, everything that you guys need to make that process seamless and easy. You can also text the word taxes to 211-211. So you can get screened for credits, get a little estimate to see how much you might get back on your tax credits. You can get set up with one of our 3 filing options, or you can learn about ITINs. Next up, I'd like to introduce Jasmine Munoz, Policy Coordinator with United Ways of California, as well as Catherine Asprey, Director of External Affairs from the Office of California State Treasurer Fiona Ma. So Jasmine, I mean, we've talked so much about, I think, all these different free filing options that are available and things like that. But I really want to circle back on the ITIN piece because I don't think that we have talked enough about it today. And so in 2020, community members with an ITIN became eligible for tax credits like the California Earned Income Tax Credit. This is pretty historic considering that they are not eligible for tax credits at the federal level. How do you see this change impacting Californians?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mandy. And I'm so excited and honored to be here with you all. So yes, I would say it has a huge impact for Californians across the state. I think that we were so glad to continue seeing California really be a leader in the tax equity space among, all of the other ways that California leads the nation in changing and making policies more equitable. But again, I think expanding tax credit eligibility to filers with ITINs, it's huge. There are a number of reasons why someone might not qualify for a Social Security number and would therefore apply and file their taxes with an ITIN that I think a lot of folks might not realize. So ITIN filers, some of them are undocumented community members. But they might also be maybe a dependent or a spouse of someone who has a US citizenship. They live, they work here, their families are here, and they might even be students or professors who are learning and teaching here, but are using a visa. So there's so many different reasons for someone to file with an ITIN. And another thing that I would say is it's important to remember that, ITIN filers are not strangers. They are oftentimes our neighbors. For those of us in the audience, you probably live and or work with someone who files with an ITIN. These folks, again, they live here, they work here, they earn income here, and they do contribute to California's economic prosperity. A fact that, I think we should share more often because a lot of people don't know it is these folks do pay billions in taxes to the state of California every single year. But as you mentioned, Mandy, many filers with an ITIN, they remain excluded still from a lot of federal benefits like the federal earned income tax credit that they could be receiving and would otherwise be eligible for. That would make a really big impact in their daily lives. So I think from our organization's perspective and many of our partners on the call too, it's not just a nice thing that the state of California has expanded eligibility of these tax credits to ITIN filers, but it's actually the right thing, the fair thing, and the equitable thing to do. So it's had a huge impact.
Yeah, well said, Jasmine. Yeah, we do recommend that if you are filing for an ITIN for the first time, that you utilize that in-person option. But once you get your ITIN established, you could use any of our 3 filing methods. So you can file virtually, you can even do the self-filing option. A lot of our VITA sites have a certified acceptance agent that's there on staff. The great thing about that, it means that they could certify your documents in person and you don't have to mail them off to the IRS, which I know is a big, big relief. So again, if you guys want to file your taxes for free and you have an ITIN, go to myfreetaxes.org. You could also text the word ITIN to 211-211. So United Ways of California has been involved in this work from the very beginning, long before the tax credit was established in 2015. And why was this so important to United Way? I mean, I heard you talk a little bit earlier about like it was like the right thing, right? When we talk about ITIN inclusion, but when we think back about just establishing the credit back in 2015, why was this important to us?
Yeah, so yes, United Ways of California has been a very proud co-lead of the Cali ITC Coalition for many years, alongside our incredible partners. That includes organizations like Golden State Opportunity, Grace and Child Poverty, the California Budget and Policy Center, among so many others. But as Chris and Jason have mentioned, since the Cali ITC was created, we've been slowly working on ways to expand it over the years. And we've endlessly advocated for ways to improve them, in part because we know through data how beneficial that these tax credits are. Of course, here at United Ways of California, give, advocate, volunteer is our tagline, and our overall mission is to improve the health, education, and financial prosperity of Californians across the state. So I think to us and all of our team here, for us supporting the Cali ITC and thinking about ways to expand it, it just makes a lot of sense. So to highlight a few data pieces about the important impact of the Cali ATC, as we've talked about throughout this conversation here today, the Cali ATC does provide direct financial support for families, especially those who have tight budgets. It does boost local economies because oftentimes that extra money that's received by a family is spent locally at their local grocery stores, local markets. The Cali ITC is a refundable credit, so the Cali ITC might even reduce the amount of taxes you owe if you owe, or otherwise you might even get, some money back. It also provides benefits to children and families. We know that by providing additional income support, the Cali ITC can contribute to better overall health, educational, and future economic outcomes for those children and those families who receive it. And of course, for eligible filers, all you have to do to get this money is to file your taxes. And you shouldn't have to spend a single dime to file your taxes, because you can and you should file your taxes for free.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. So, one last question for you. United Ways of California increased the number of their returns by 11% last year, and we also increased the number of ITIN applications we processed by 187%. And really, I think about why were we able to do this? How were we able to do this? And I think it was, through the support of the Franchise Tax Board, through CSD, and by the state of California. And so we're really lucky to be able to get funding, and funding is being provided across the state to really promote these programs and give us the capacity to be able to do this on a day-to-day basis. So this year, we're proposing that statewide funding becomes a permanent part of the budget. And why do you think that this is so important?
Yeah, this is a great question. And I know on the advocacy and policy side of things, for United Ways of California, this is going to be one of our big, big priorities for this year. So a little bit of background, during a previous budget surplus, the state of California was actually doubling funding for free tax prep assistance and education and outreach funding. And, as our partners like Susan mentioned, that additional funding has been hugely beneficial to partners who get that money and were able to expand their programs for their community members. Unfortunately, that additional kind of bump in funding was only temporary, And by the end of 2024, it is set to revert to previous levels and would go back to, it's set to revert back to 10 million. So I think that the big message for us is we want state leaders to know that that additional investment was really huge, and it was actually greatly needed by a lot of our partners, our volunteers, our VITA sites. And so with the help of the Cali ATC Coalition, we will be doing some advocacy. We're going to be doing a big budget push this year to hopefully ask and protect that funding of 20 million ongoing for free tax prep assistance and education and outreach. So again, just to kind of revisit some of the things that Susan and Ventura mentioned, that additional funding for free tax prep assistance, it allows them to do so many different things. For some sites, it allows them to partner with their local community colleges to train more volunteers. It allows them resources that they need to translate materials in languages other than English, which allows them to better serve, especially our Indigenous populations and community members. And overall, it helps ensure that sites have enough resources to serve every person who comes into their site and has a question about how to file their tax return. So we do have a lot of great opportunities for folks to get engaged and get involved. If this work means a lot to you, if you're a VITA volunteer and you want to make sure that this funding is protected, please always feel free to reach out to myself or anyone on the United Ways of California team, and we'd love to share some ways that you can advocate with us.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. So, we've talked a lot about free tax prep and the impact that it makes, but I keep talking about how it's more than just a free service, right? So we know that free tax prep is often the entry point, and it's something that supports community members beyond just filing their taxes that one time of year. So oftentimes free tax prep serves as an entry point for community members. So by just starting that process, they can get connected with our partners all across the state who could help them access other financial stability resources. So next, I'm going to shift gears a little bit and I'm going to talk about some other financial stability programs that are available to folks across the state. So we have Catherine here from the California State Treasurer's Office. And to kick things off, before you dive into your programs, can you tell us a little bit about some of your key priorities and why they're so important to your office?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you, Mandy, for having me here today. I just want to start off by saying Treasurer Ma has always been a champion of Cal EITC, dating back to her time in the legislature. And as a CPA, she really knows the importance of filing taxes and getting the money back that you deserve. So thank you so much for including us today in this important webinar. But yeah, we have a number of key priorities. I'll just touch on a couple today. One of our top priorities is building financial stability and generational wealth for Californians. Our office does have a suite of programs that I'll touch on in a minute that helps individuals, families, and communities achieve financial stability and build for a brighter future for generations to come. Another priority for us is fostering economic growth and stability in California. We also have another suite of programs that support California's small businesses, which in turn help create more jobs and improve the state's infrastructure.
Yeah. Yeah, so wonderful. I'm really excited to share a lot of your guys' programs. It's getting me to think about what Susan was talking about earlier, saying what to do with your refund, right? So if you are able to, you can save that money. And there's so many amazing ways that the state of California is really empowering people to save that money. So can you tell us about some of your guys' programs that are available?
Yeah, sure. So we have several savings programs housed in the state treasurer's office that allow individuals and families to invest and save for the future. And we do encourage individuals who receive a tax refund to consider investing in one of our savings programs. First, we have ScholarShare 529, which is California's official college savings plan. This program allows families to save and invest for their children's higher education, which also includes apprenticeship programs. We also have the Cal Kids program, which is under the umbrella of our ScholarShare, which also helps children save for college or career training after high school. Children born in California starting on July 1st, 2022, and eligible low-income public school students are awarded a CalKids College Savings Account with an initial seed deposit. So all of these kids just need to do is go online to our calkids.org website. They can check their eligibility and claim the money. It can be anywhere from like $100 to $500, and there's additional funds for children who are in the foster care system or homeless. It's just money that's waiting there to be claimed. Another savings program that we have is CalAble, and that is a program for individuals with disabilities. It allows people with disabilities to save and invest money without losing eligibility for public benefits, like Medicaid and Social Security. And then lastly, we have CalSavers, which is our retirement savings program. So this program aims to ensure all Californians have a path to financial security in retirement by offering a simple and low-cost way to save for their future. So if you are employed by someone that doesn't offer their own retirement program, there's our state program, which is called CalSavers.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I will echo how amazing the scholarship program is. We opened up a scholarship account for my son a couple years ago when he was born. And I think what's pretty cool is there are local programs all over the state that actually help put even more money back into those accounts. So my city that I live in, if I like do activities and go to the library with my son and things like that, they'll actually put money into his scholarship account. So I know they have similar programs in San Francisco. There's some in LA, and they're all over the place. So such a wonderful program. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us today. We hope that you're ready to maximize your refund and file your taxes for free. You can get started by visiting our website, myfreetaxes.org. From there, you can file for free and access tools, resources, and guides to help you through the free filing process. Don't forget, free filing is available to anyone, regardless of income. Start the free filing process today by visiting myfreetaxes.org or texting the word taxes to 211-211. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.